All right, guys, so on today's episode, we are talking about January's numbers. Super stoked to kick off the year with these high numbers. Very excited about it, and we are going to dive into the nitty-gritty and let you guys know all the numbers on what we bought and what we sold.
And of course, all the shipping costs, the eBay fees, all that jazz, and of course the profits, because profits are the most important number. If you're not making anything, you can't sustain your business. So we need to be making sure that you're making money for your effort spent.
Absolutely.
So we're going to start off. You want to start off with the first one? Well, our total was, I don't think we said the total.
We did not.
$17,994 in total sales.
Woohoo! $17,000 in sales. I love it for January. So the best part about that whole number is there were only 8 sales in the month of January. So it's not like we had to sell thousands and thousands of items to get to that 17,000. We only had to sold 8. We only had to sell 8 items, which is awesome.
And it wasn't even 8 transactions because we bundled a couple together. So
yeah.
Let's dive into the first one. So the first one was those Stryker Cots that you got, 4 of them.
Stretchers. If you guys remember, we actually bought 12 of these in one shot from one of my contacts who I buy tons of stuff from. I met him years and years ago at the flea market and then built a relationship with him. And now he always is sending me items sending me items that he comes across throughout the week, and I make a decision. Well, he sent me a picture of these stretchers. I went over and worked a deal with him later that night, and yeah, we ended up paying $183, I think is what it broke it down to.
Per stretcher. I think it was $2,200 for 12 stretchers,
yeah.
And I have to say that I was not for this at first. I did not want him to purchase them, which is usually the case on a lot of the bigger stuff. Yeah. I get nervous going out that much money. I think that is a lot of money to go out. And I'm like, okay, well, are we going to turn it around quickly? Like, what's going to happen? But normally you don't gamble a lot. Yeah. So you're making an educated guess. So.
Yep. And that was the case on these. I actually worked a deal with him that I told him I wanted to take one from him for a week before so I gave him $100 right there. That's all the money I had in my wallet. I gave him $100 and I took one stretcher with me. This guy's, like I said, we've known each other. We've done deals for the last couple of years. And he said, absolutely. And I told him I'd pay him the remainder of the money, $2,100 the following, no, sorry. I paid him $100 and I told him I'd give him another $500 the next day. I'd go to the ATM and give him another $500 and then I paid him the remainder the next week. So I was hoping I could take that one stretcher, clean it up, get pictures that night, get it listed, and have it sold before I even had to pay anything for them or pay the rest of the money for them. So, but it didn't work out that quick. It ended up taking us about a week and a half. Yeah. So I ended up paying him, picking up the rest of the stretchers, but then paying him the rest of the money before we actually sold any. But the cool thing was the first sell of January were 4 of them. A local person saw them on eBay and bought 4 of them, all 4 of the cheaper models that I had. So I had 4 of the cheaper.
You took an offer.
I did. 4 of the cheaper and then 8 of the more expensive ones. So he took the 4 the cheaper models, which I think it was the Stryker MX, was it? It was a 650-pound capacity. The bigger ones were the 700-pound capacity. So we sold those first. I did take an offer. I think I could have sat on them and made a little bit more money, but
we need turn that stuff.
Moving them quick is the big thing. So we moved them quickly, and it was a sweet flip on that. And yeah, that was a number 1 flip of January. Paid $183. What did that average out for?
$732 and was the average if you round up. And
yep.
Then the Stryker Cots were $6,000 sale, $732 item cost. eBay fees were $405 on this
Beautiful.
One, and no shipping cost because it was local pickup. So our total profit was $4,863.
I love it.
So,
one thing to add on this one were the eBay fees. Yeah. When they averaged this, when they took this transaction, it was one transaction for $6,000, $1,500 per item. They took this transaction as a $6,000 transaction. The problem was they actually showed it in their form, which I'm sure this is a computer. It's not somebody doing it, but the computer broke it up into 4 transactions, which was $1,500 per transaction, which didn't meet the standards for when you sell something on eBay. For us, when you have a store, when you sell something over $2,500, the fee caps at the 12%, 13%, whatever you're paying, caps at $2,500.
That's 2.35%.
And then after that, it drops to 2.35. So this should have been the 12% at $2,500, and the remainder of the money should have been dropped down to the fee at 2.35. They didn't do that since they did 4 different transactions. I called them up, talked to them. It actually took me 2 calls, I think, to get it actually done, but they refunded. Yeah, I think it was an extra $300 or $400. They ended up refunding us back on fees that they took out because of how they did it. So if you are selling items and it is going above that $2,500 threshold or that cap, make sure you're checking your fees to make sure they're not charging you over on the fees, because they charge us 12% on that total 6,000, and that's how we got charged more money for that. So just a little side note.
It does vary per category, but for the most categories, that cap is $2,500 if you have a store. It's $7,500 if you don't have a store. Is that cap?
Yeah.
Which we would have ended up paying the full fee.
Absolutely.
Price,
so if you are selling a larger profit items, higher dollar items, you want to make sure that you do have a store, even if it's a basic store. You definitely want to have that so you
Wasn't
can
it over
take
like
advantage.
$300 that we got back?
Yeah, 300 or 400, because they did it on 2 of our transactions back to back.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to call them and have them process them both at the same time. I finally got to the right person the second time I called, or the third time, and he did it for me like lickety split. He did it really, really quick. Got it back into my account.
It's just something in the system. It automatically does it. So it's not like they're doing it on purpose, but it automatically triggers it even though it was one transaction. Yep. So, but they haven't had a problem with getting it to you. As long as
it was pretty quick doing it. So make sure you're keeping an eye on your fees, especially if you are doing higher value items. You want to make sure that those fees are right when they're actually charging you the fees. So that was number 1 for January.
I wanted to add one more thing to the fees, though, that I thought of is there's a couple of people that had commented, well, if you sold at local pickup, then why did you not go outside of eBay? Like, you should have gone outside of eBay.
Bad idea.
Which is not a good idea. Like, you can, there are ways around it, but if you're this is like our bread and butter. Like, if you get flagged and they shut your eBay account down, like, it's not easy to open another one. You can be banned from eBay and then you're done. And like, that's not in our best interest. So of course nobody wants to pay eBay fees, but we did sell it on eBay, pay the fees. $400 for a $6,000 sale. I mean,
not that big of a deal.
It was worth it. So
what is a legit way to sell outside of eBay? If you guys are wanting to do that locally, don't try and get somebody on eBay's platform to give you their phone number. Don't do all that stuff. Legitly, how to do it is make sure you're multiple listing. You're listing in Facebook Marketplace, you're listing on OfferUp, and you're listing on eBay the same item. If the buyer is local and they actually find you on Facebook Marketplace and reach out to you on Facebook Marketplace, awesome, you can save your fees. But this buyer didn't. He reached out through eBay, and he actually did the whole process through eBay. There's a certain layer of protection that people do really like about eBay versus the other markets, and we're not going to screw up our name on eBay or go outside of eBay when they're the ones who captured that buyer. You don't want to do that. It's just not the right thing to do. So that's why we don't do that. And we get a lot of comments on social media. You overpaid, or you shouldn't have had to pay fees. You could have went outside. It's like, no, that's not how we roll. That's not what we do. So just know moving forward, if you do try to do that, eBay will see it and they can ban you. They might
not see it the first time.
They might not,
but it's just not worth it for the big picture.
Sooner or later, it will catch up to you, and you will pay the consequences of that.
We have done. I remember the mower we did last year, the year before. The buyer found you on Craigslist, and then he was. But people, so say think of yourself as the buyer. You're looking up items. You're gonna look like we check Facebook Marketplace, we check Craigslist. Like, if we're looking for a specific item, we'll check multiple different to see what's cheaper. eBay, we'll go on all of them, and if you find the same item, then he reached out through Craigslist to do the local sale. Yep. So that's how you can do that. So if it's listed on multiple, like you said, and that happened with that guy. So when he ended up going locally because he found us locally on Craigslist. Yep. So
side note, anyways, let's get to number 2 for January sales.
Number 2 was the generator. The Miller generator sold for $4,400.
And this was a local one. We actually had it listed on eBay.
This was Marketplace, right?
It was. We had it listed on eBay, but we also had it in the local market. And somebody reached out through Marketplace. They actually came, inspected the generator. I actually told him the lowest I would go was $4,500, and it was not doing something exactly right when he was testing it. It was a small part that he had to fix, a regulator. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something small, and he asked if I'd take $100 off of it, and I said, yeah, I didn't know, and I didn't disclose to him that it wasn't idling right at low speeds when you weren't using it, and he said it wasn't a big deal. So anyways, we sold it for $4,400.
Did you end up taking you said $500
$100 off. off. Yeah. Okay. So this one was kind of cool. The way I figured out what we paid for this. Do we have the how much we paid?
$100.
Yeah. So I bought a truck, one of my trucks a couple years back. I bought it from an auction, paid $800 for it, drove it for a couple years, and then we traded this to a buddy who was starting up a tree business. He's a close friend. He needed a truck, and I said he actually traded this generator out for some tree work from somebody that he did work for. He traded it and got the generator, and then I traded him the truck for the generator. So we had $800 into the truck, and he had, I don't know how much he had into the generator, but anyway, so he swapped it, and that's how I figured out what I paid for it was really $800, and then we sold it for $4,400. So
the barter system isn't dead.
I love it. I love it. It's cool when you can barter and barter up for sure. So that's what we did on this one.
I didn't realize that was a local one too.
Yep,
So
a local. No shipping fees, no eBay fees, nothing on that one.
So our total out of minus the $800 for the cost was $3,600 for profit.
Woohoo! Love it.
And yeah, the warming drawer was a fun one. So
drawer
for $400.
Found this one on a road trip over the summer, I believe it was.
Near my mom.
So paid $5 for this bad boy at a thrift store and picked it up and brought it home. Actually got 2 of these. We bought a lot more from that thrift store.
I have to say I spotted these at the thrift store.
She did.
I was like, these look like they should be something. Are they something? And then he looked them up. So
really cool. So we got 2 of those, $5 a piece. Sold it on eBay. That one sold fairly quickly after I got it listed. I think it was within a week or 2. Well, a couple weeks. I don't want to say exactly, but a couple weeks it sold and shipped it. It sold on eBay, shipped it. What were our total cost and fees on this one?
Item cost $5, eBay fees $52, shipping cost was $88, so that brought our profit to $255.
$255.
So, and I think it was like 2 hours worth of work because that's one thing we try to monitor too, like how many hours did it take us to make that. So it was about 2 hours. Did want to say, like, when you say okay, it was our summer road trip, but it didn't take that long to sell, but that was several months ago. The key factor in there is the time to get it listed. So that's what you've been working on. And you're doing really, like, you're getting a lot of stuff listed now, which is really cool. But that, like, sometimes people are like, well, it seems like it took a long time to sell. Well, no, we just had to get it listed.
Yeah,
so.
And I still have a Thermador set that I have not pulled out of. Well, I have. We moved it around, but it's still not pictured and listed. That's what I'm working on this week, is getting those things pictured and listed. Beautiful Thermador
They're
set.
more of a vintage set, right?
It is a little bit vintage. I think it's from the 90s, but it's a matching oven, a double oven, microwave, cooktop, warming drawer. It has all that stuff in it. So a really, really cool set that we'll be getting that going to. But anyways, on to the next one, number 3, third sale for the month.
The third sale for the month was actually, we attributed our yard sale. So it's not just one sale, but it was our yard sale. And most of the items we sold, we actually got for free.
We did.
So our yard sale totaled $994 for 2 days, which it's a lot more work than it's worth.
It is. It's a lot of work. But it helps us get rid of some of the kids' toys. The kids accumulate stuff. If you have kids, you know what we're talking about. If you don't, just be aware. Kids accumulate toys. They accumulate all kinds of stuff. And it's a way for us to actually get the kids excited about selling stuff. Our kids love doing a yard sale. They love selling cookies. They love doing that kind of thing. So, which is fun. It is just a lot of work for Melissa and I. It's 2 long days of yard sale.
And then it's getting the stuff ready. And we give the kids the choice if on the Friday before school, if they want to go to school or if they want to stay and work the yard sale. And we pretty much make them, and they usually always choose the yard sale. Yeah. We do it once or twice a year, but we make them process all the money, and now we're making them do the math in their head and give change to people. So they're working through that, and then they try to ask us, well, what's the answer? Like, well, what do you think? And so that's been really good for them to learn that. And then we did give them a pretty good cut too. So we gave them each $100. They worked the yard sale. They got rid of a lot of their own stuff. So we gave them $100 each, and we opened a Greenlight account. Before, we've always done cash in envelopes, but just so they can see it, which I think is really good. But everything's so online now, and so we opened a Greenlight account, and we're playing around with that. So you can have a checking, a savings. They even play with investing, which we haven't done yet, but the kids can see it. They see the money there in both accounts, so they're spending what they're saving, and it's pretty cool. So we'll put a link below if you're interested to check it out if you have kids. So
absolutely.
So it was a pretty cool little thing.
So that added almost an extra $1,000 to our top line from the yard sale, just something we did in January. So we put it in here with it. And then what was number 4? I think we're on number 4. The last one?
Yeah. Fourth one on eBay if you don't count the yard sale.
Cool.
So yeah, fourth was the Stryker Cots, the 2.
So this was the higher model Cots, and I didn't take an offer on these. I did have it set up, which I was a little bit upset about. I had it set up for if you bought multiple ones, so I had 4 listed on eBay, and I had it to, eBay kept putting on my app when I opened it up, hey, offer discount for multiple sales, which I did that, which the only bad thing about that, which is cool when you're selling small items, but this was and we didn't lose money, don't get me wrong at all, but I was a little more upset about them charging one shipping fee. So we had the prices at $29.99 for the Cots, and then I think it was an extra $2.99 for shipping or $3.99. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they didn't get charged that extra fee, and they got a discount on the Cot itself once they bought more than one. So that was kind of irritating to me. I should have looked through it a little bit better before I did it. Still, we made some really, really good money because these sold for $3,000 a piece plus one shipping, which we didn't lose money on shipping. The guy was, I think, 1 or 2 states north of us, so shipping was not ridiculous on it. It wasn't bad at all.
And it was a fairly easy pallet. It was just two on top of each other, and yeah.
Got the pallets for free, so I didn't have to buy any extra wood or anything like that. So, but like I said, it was just a little irritating that eBay gave the discount and didn't even charge for the second fee for shipping because it just put them together. So anyway, something to note when you're doing multiple sales, just know if the eBay's asking you to discount it for the second and third and fourth sales, they might not give you the shipping price on that. And freight is a big deal for that for sure.
And when you said about the pallets, you should never have to spend money on your pallets. Unless you're building like some really custom pallet, but there are standard pallets out there everywhere. Like some of our friends know now, like, that what we do, and like they'll be out, they'll see pallets on the side of the road. They send us a picture, but we get them from businesses that if you're just go and ask people for pallets, they'll give them to you.
It's not very difficult. You can go to a lot of strip malls or shopping centers around you, and they'll be
grocery
out back.
Stores,
just go in and ask if you can have them, if they're not going to use them, and a lot of times they just give them to companies to get rid of them because they can't get rid of them. So yeah, you don't have to buy pallets. You can definitely find them for free.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. So that's it. Those are all the sales for January, which, we had a total of 8 sales, but 2 of those were multiple. 4 items sold to one buyer, and then 2 items sold to another buyer.
So only 4 transactions.
4 transactions, which is even better. We only had 4 transactions for that whole month of January. That was awesome. And then the total was over $2,000 per sale.
$2,125 per sale if we take out the yard sale.
Yep.
So right now the total sales were $17,994.
Almost $18,000.
The cost of goods was $1,903. eBay fees $9.89, shipping costs $2.42, and those 2 were not paying until the items sold.
Yep.
And then so the total profit was $14,860. If you take out the yard sale, because some of the items we did get for free, some of them we paid whatever years ago or whatever, but it's all of our. But if you take out all of the money from the yard sale, $13,866.
Almost $14,000 in profit. I absolutely love it. It's awesome when we can have a good month like that. Anything, and not very many sales that we had to process.
4 transactions and only 2 things you had to ship out.
That's it.
You shipped out 2 things last month. That's kind of crazy.
So amazing. We absolutely love it for those months. I was going to add one more thing, but I forgot what it was. Oh, that we only went out to make this much profit. We only had to go out of pocket just a little under $2,000, $1,900 and some dollars out of pocket. The rest of the fees came out after we sold. So, which is awesome. That's a huge note in this business. We're not going out $10,000 to make an extra $3,000 or $4,000. We went out just like $2,000 to do this. So I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. And that's a big thing about when you do sell on certain platforms like eBay, like most of your sales are coming out after. We talked about this, I think, in one of our training groups the other day. Like when you're trying to promote something on Marketplace, you're paying before and you don't even know if it's going to sell, which is annoying. And I know there is another way you can promote on eBay, and that's the same thing, but we don't do that. But if you can pay after, like, it makes so much more sense. So, awesome.
So what if you listen to this and you want to learn more? What is a great place that you can actually go pick up some more good tips? Where should they go?
freeflippingcourse.com. You can always check out. We have some great tips on there. It's a free intro course if you're just getting started. And we have a couple of resources in the show notes, so you can check those out and see if any of those are helpful for you.
You guys rock. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next episode.